Hey, so what's up? Today I want to talk about something that has been in my head for the last few weeks. So, I got a new job, I got my first ever job like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I think. And it was at a call center. I did so because I wanted to sort of challenge myself, put myself in an uncomfortable situation because I used to consider myself an anxious person, you know? This year, I would say. No, not even this year. Yeah, I mean, it was like at the beginning of this year. I discovered Stoicism, and it sounds kind of cringe because it has such bad connotation nowadays because of how all these people are tossing the word around, and sort of spreading misinformation as to what it is. But Stoicism has helped me a lot, and I can tell you that it doesn't work that way for everyone because my girlfriend is actually struggling with the same thing as me. She's not socially anxious or anything like that, but Stoicism works, or well, it covers a lot of other things, a lot of literally anything that a human can suffer from. It talks about it, right? And it hasn't worked that well for her, you know. But for me, it has helped me a lot, and that was the only thing that pretty much told me like, hey, you know what? I don't want to work only as an English teacher at home. I want to go out there and like sort of put myself in an uncomfortable situation. I want to see myself growing, and reading Seneca, reading Epictetus, reading Marcus Aurelius, and even current people who study Stoicism has helped me a lot in my sort of journey to, you know, improve in this area of myself because I want to be limitless. That's that's something that is funny to say because it sort of comes off as a cringe thing, and sort of I shouldn't feel that way, because there's nothing cringe about trying to be limitless. And by limitless I mean do my best in any point in my life. And that doesn't mean to be like the best at chess, the best at, I don't know, speaking eloquently, or the most, I don't know, charming person, the smartest, or anything like that. It's just doing my best, doing things without any limitations, to not fret over things that don't really matter, to not worry about others' opinions, to not um, limit myself because I'm ashamed of something that I should not be ashamed of. Those kind of things are what I consider to be limitless. And so, since I used to be an anxious person, it kind of like, you know, uh, was in the way for me to actually become that sort of person who I want to be. I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm closer than I was a year ago, so I'm really happy. The thing is, I got the job just because of that. It went well, sort of. I mean, I got a lot of problems. I, of course, met the hurdles that I knew I was going to meet, and some of them I handled them very well, and some of them I also handled them very well because it was I did everything that was within my power to handle them well. That's what I mean by being limitless, And I'm really happy that I did all of these things. I never needed the job. I was dealing with a lot of uncomfortable situations, like people trying to exploit me, or trying to be disdainful, or sort of condescending towards me, and I learned how to deal with those situations, or at least I did it well, and that's the type of things that I wanted to experience. Right now I quit that job and got a new one as a medical interpreter. I'm not really a medical interpreter yet. I'm practicing right now. I'm training, and as a first job, this seems very daunting at first. I hope I will get better and be a better medical interpreter. I'm also still an English teacher. All of these are things that I was like literally so hesitant to do at some point in my life. Being an English teacher, recording these videos, all of these things are things that at some point in my life I hesitated to do. I literally had nightmares with being in this situation. And it's nice to feel like, you know, for example, when I was in my training, the bad thing that I was fretting over happened. At my job, the bad thing that I was fretting over happened as well. You know what I'm saying? But truly, they cannot hurt me. All of these things happened. People over the phone, they insulted me. Really, that's really something very minor, by the way. It doesn't really matter. You don't even feel it. But all of those things that one would be afraid of at first happened. My boss was literally insulting me, like outright insulting me. Some other people were outright aggressive towards me at work. All of those things happened. None of them hurt me. You know? I think that's the beauty of it, you know? It's the beauty of like putting yourself out there. Like you know, like facing the fear, squaring up at whatever you're afraid of, and seeing how it is gonna, you know, how it is going to interact with you, how you can handle those things. Sure, you probably are sure that you're not gonna handle it well. People are gonna make fun of you. You are gonna not know what to say. You're gonna be fucking body slammed and whatever. Thing is, you're facing those things. Of course, if you could avoid them, you would. But you don't really want to avoid them, or you can't really avoid them. So what else is there for you to do than to do your best at handling those situations? For example, in my training as well, I was sort of afraid of like making a mistake with my English because everybody there had a good English, but I was always sort of like in my head, sort of, you know, going through that process of like discerning or, you know, understanding my situation well. Like, my English is good. I don't need to prove anyone anything else. You know, I don't need to prove people that my English is good. I don't need to be liked by these people. Sure, they're great people or they're bad people. I don't care. I don't want to put any value on their opinions. You know, I don't want to put any value on how well I perform. You know, I don't want to need any of these things. And I know that for some people it is hard, but for me it is. You know, if you're looking for unwavering peace, then that's what it takes. It takes for you to literally let go of anything that is not fully under your control. And today I got like 11 kilometers on my bike. Let's go. I'm gonna go for hopefully 200 kilometers this month. I don't have any gear, so I'm really holding back on a lot of my speed and how far I go. Either way. So the thing is that I sat at the park where I pretty much grew up. I was actually very afraid of like meeting somebody I knew from, you know, back in the day, because I'm totally a complete different person. But anyway, so I was just, you know, looking around and being like, all of these people working, all of these people going about their days. And I started realizing, like, not realizing, but accepting sort of the idea of life being meaningless. There's no endpoint, and it doesn't have to have an endpoint. It doesn't have to have a goal. You know, my goal for me, my endpoint, like I said on a lot of other videos, it felt like I need to face these fears. I don't know if probably any of these people who are watching this video watch my previous videos, but I have sort of a voice in my head telling me who you want to be. You want to be limitless. And I hate that word, but I want it to be limitless. I didn't not want to create mental limitations, mental boundaries in my head, you know, for things that I wanted to do. I didn't know want to feel like, oh, nobody's gonna watch my videos, I'm not gonna recreate any videos, or oh, like nobody's gonna, I don't know, care about what I have to say about this book, I'm not gonna do it, or people are gonna make fun of me for saying this, or asking this question, they're gonna think I'm dumb. Not gonna do that. My brain, I have a voice in my brain telling me, you're a bitch if you do, you know. And I mean, it was always that way up until I got to know Stoicism. Nowadays it's more like, yeah, you're a bitch, but you shouldn't because of this things, you know. And by the way, I wasn't stuttering. I was saying like this, sort of like giving me reasons as to why things are not the way you see them, you know, to make proper use of that impression before you assent to them. And it has helped me a lot, you know. And anyhow, I sat at that park and I was thinking, and I realized that, you know, there's no end point to life. I'll never be fully myself, because when I face these fears, when I read books, when I try to learn more things, I feel like I'm becoming more myself. That's why it's so motivating. That's why it's so encouraging to feel like I'm becoming myself. It's like, oh, I'm smarter than I was like 2 years ago. I handle things better. I am not as anxious. I am kinder. I understand things better, you know. I respect other people. Sort of like, things that actually make you happy about seeing yourself becoming more yourself, if that makes sense, you know. Right now, who I am, for me, is less myself than the person who I will be if I, finish this book, or if I, prove myself that I'm able to do these things. And that should be my end goal. Maybe your end goal is something else for you. But I don't think it is possible. I don't think it is possible for me to always be right. I don't think it is possible for me to know that, you know, the real true of everything. Truth, sorry, of everything. And I accept that. That's okay. I think life is about, at least for how I understand it, it's about getting experiences. It's about enjoying the day. It's about seizing the day. Carpe diem. It's about suffering as well. It's about getting all of those experiences, you know? And probably we're just a cog in the system for something greater, who knows? But as of right now, if this is the only thing that we have, then this is the meaning of life, I guess. To enjoy, to experience, to live that way. In a sense, it is fulfilling for me, you know? It is part of it. It is part of an experience to have delays. It is fun. It is part of an experience to have pain, to have injustice, to have fears, you know, as it is to enjoy life and have beautiful moments and know beautiful people. And so when I think of it that way, it makes me happy. It makes me excited of the hardship, what's to come. And of course, there's different degrees of hardship, right? It's not the same as, I don't know, like failing at your job and like feeling that feeling as, for example, it would be for somebody else to lose somebody and stuff like that. It's a complete different situation, right? But yeah, I think you can see the beauty in everything, even in those things. Yeah. So lately, that's what's been happening. Um, Things have been hard, at least for me, because I had to do so much work. I had to practice so much. It was stressful to a certain extent, and my girlfriend always like looks up to me, because for some reason I'm able to implement these ideas, and I'm able to to kind of like circumvent these emotions. But I told her, I tell her all the time, like, it's a complete different situation. Like, you're going through something harder than I am. So you should not be so quick at saying like I'm good at this or I'm good at that, because it's just different levels of difficulties. But for example, when I was stressed out about work, I was just able to say, this is what it takes. I don't. Why would I complain about something that I cannot control? You know, why would I want to just get the good part of life? And also, this is something that I that I wanted to talk about, and it is that stoicism is not all about getting the pain that you're given. It's not just like getting it with a smile on your face and be happy of it. If you can avoid pain, if you can avoid those things that stress you out, then you should. Stoicism never says that you should, put yourself through pain all the time. I mean, they say, at least Seneca says, that you should probably, make yourself a little bit uncomfortable to grow, to sort of like not grow dusty or rusty with your skills. But he also says that if things get too hard, you can always tap out. You can always throw the towel. And that's not saying like you're a bitch. Just go cry. It's just, if things get too hard, you can just stop. Like for me, at least, it was like literally reducing the amount of hours that I was working, and it felt good for me in a sense, because I'm the person who literally got a job, not needing a job, to just put myself in an uncomfortable situation. And I realized that, hey, this is uncomfortable enough. This is making me grow, but I'm not gonna be dumb enough. I'm not gonna be fool enough to say, just let's just soldier, like let's just face this and go through the stress and have no time for yourself. Just go and do it. Just fuck it, go and do it. No. For me, it was more like sort of putting myself through enough discomfort for me to grow, but not too much discomfort for me to be miserable, you know? For me to just get caught in this cycle of like self improvement bullshit of just being better and being happy of how well you're handling the endless pain that you're putting yourself through. Um, so I guess that's it. I had I have a lot of ideas that I wish I could properly put into words. I don't think I'm that good at talking to express things that well as you just witnessed. But hey, I guess that's the message of this video. It's just pain and happiness. They're part of life, and you know everything will be fine at the end. I guess you know we just have to have that knowledge. We just have to feel it. I know that this will not resonate to a lot with a lot of people. I know that this will be cringe and nonsense for a lot of people, but for me it does make sense, and for me it does help me. That's all I have to say for today's video. Bye.